So, hello everybody, and welcome back to Simulation Section. It's me and more central, that northerner that films buses and trains and trams. And welcome to the simulation, the bus sim, train sim side of what I do on YouTube. If you found this, hopefully you are into the simulation world, the virtual world of transport simulators, of like OMSI 2 and train sim. Will expand that screen. Apologies, it was a little bit small there. I'm glad I clocked that. For some reason, it must have changed on the settings when I started playing Train Sim. But we're all good now. You're on a full screen, and you join me at Echil in Great Colquart with YG04FZD. Now, this was part of the large YG04 batch of B7TL Geminis, which were purchased by First Bus in Leeds in 2004 as part of a fleet upgrade scheme. About 5 or 6 of these ended up transferring over to Chester just before the First Bus Chester and Withell operations were sold to Stagecoach, and this was one of them, where they ended up moving to Stagecoach. They operated around Liverpool for a couple of years in Stagecoach Beach Ball colours, before then moving a few other, I believe, I'm sure some of them ended up in Scotland, or they were thinking about sending them there, before eventually settling with East Midlands and operating out of Cleethorpes and Skegness as open-top buses. The ones at Skegness have now gone, which did include this one. They have all been scrapped, unfortunately. However, there are still 2 left at the time of filming, which I believe are 32453, 58 and 55, I think. It's 2 of them, which are operating with their Stagecoach fleet numbers and what have, with a full Stagecoach interior and open-top spec around Cleethorpes. Although they are up for withdrawal and replacement. They were supposed to be replaced in 2025. That didn't happen. So I don't know if they will, how much of the 2026 season they will make, but hey ho. So in this video, you join me, as I say, at Great Colquart, a map that has been in OMSI 2 for quite a number of years, an incredibly basic but very, very well thought through map, with the idea that you can drive around a Scottish island, something you can't do in any other map, driving in a random island and driving the local island bus services. Now, this was originally launched as a right path map, so for buses like the one, the static one next to us, with the doors on the other side, and just like you find in sort of like the basic German and Berlin maps that we have, and in more recent times was converted to left path, with the introduction of all of the random left path UK buses that we have now got to play with in OMSI 2. The map, as I say, has been left path for a number of years. I don't know if you can download this at the moment. I will have a little look. If not, I'll have a little chat with the folk who did convert it, as I know one of them that was involved in the project quite well. Didn't realise it were them, but I had a little look as I was loading in. I was like, oh, I know that person. And we'll have a little bit of a chat with them. If not, and we'll see if we can re-upload it. See what happens. But for now, we've got our bus blinded up. We're going to be doing the 319 today that runs from here, that is Echi through to Merport Pier via the middle of the island, the hospital and the town centre. So we'll reset all of this. The route itself takes about 20 minutes to do. And hopefully it all goes to plan this time, because it isn't the first attempt I've had at this video. That's why the bus is a little bit mucky, because I did intend on filming it in the opposite direction, but I got bombarded by OMSI 2 weather, by the snow, because I have live weather on to try and get cloudy weather and exciting weather instead of it just being clear blue skies, because it usually isn't in this world that we live in. So I tried to get realistic weather, and in return it decided to start snowing randomly midway up a hill, and then the bus decided to not work anymore. So it should be fine now, but yeah, we are now here at the starting point, at the cross. Don't think there's anybody for us. No, nobody for us. So we'll make a move. Now, we are driving the Blueprint Productions B7TL Gemini. We're driving with the older dashboard layout and in the Stagecoach Beach Ball colours. The Blueprint Productions B7 is part of the Gemini pack, as part of the B9 and the B7TL, which I did feature in the previous video where there was no commentary. The reason for the no commentary was purely due to what I was doing in the background, that I was sorting a few other bits of admin in the background as I was driving and I was sort of having a few conversations while I was driving. So it wasn't ideal for me to do all the filming bits, like doing all the voicing. So I thought I'd just drive it. I can continue having my natters off camera as well, and they were pretty nice. So, in the previous video for OMSI 2, we did have a little look at Humber buses at one of the school runs at the 441, I believe it was. There used to be the 966. That starts at the depot, goes straight into the town centre, and then makes its way through the North Shore estate up to the school. Let me know what you thought of that and what improvements you would like to see. Is there any way you'd like to see developed? Is there anything you'd like to be kept? Anything about the route that you thought was good or could be improved, anything at all, please do let me know in the comment section of that video, or even this one if you want, and I will take on board all feedback as I hopefully start to edit bits and bobs on that. Please don't expect very quick editing on that. I am sort of splitting my editing time between that and Train Simulator, because as you will have heard in my previous video that was Train Simulator, the first one of the series. If you haven't already, do go and check it out, support the series as it starts, Train Sim. I do try and make my own custom scenarios because they're a little bit different to everybody else. They stand out a little bit and you get to see something that you probably haven't seen in another video previously. So that was the idea behind that video I filmed. I've also filmed a couple more because I've sort of had like a train simulator sort of bit of hype as I've been sort of doing all the filming. So I filmed a couple of videos together, so there are a few other exciting ones. The Airedale and Wharfdale line will be coming back to the channel very soon, but I didn't want to do what some people have done, that is sort of just entirely devote all their videos to it and sort of burn themselves out on it. I really want to continue to enjoy the map, so I find the best way to appreciate the map is to sort of split it up with various other bits and bobs and sort of have that nice bit of variety. So we'll get, there we go, that'd be a nice enough screenshot showcasing the barren middle of nowhere on an island. How exciting. Well, I will say that if you haven't already, do go and check out that video on the Airedale line. That route is absolutely phenomenal. It really is. I've got so many more videos planned on it, so much more to do on it. And I've just been exploring all the different random routes that I've got as well, and there's just so much to be excited about. So much in its way, so much to be excited about, and yeah, just absolutely so much hype over getting back onto Train Simulator, that is very cool. I will admit. Let's see if I can get another nice. Can we get another nice screenshot? Oh, I think we can. Oh, I think that might work. Let's get rid of that. They are the basic bus stops. Probably the main thing I disliked about the left path conversion was the introduction of all the bus stop poles and flags at every stop. Now, when this map was originally made, pretty much every single bus stop was unmarked. And the idea behind that was that usually bus stops are unmarked on islands like this. People are all regulars. They know where their bus is going to stop. It doesn't come as a surprise. It's a case of they're waiting locations in the bus stops. So that was the only thing I'm a little bit disappointed about, that there were bus stop flags everywhere. But I can also understand why they introduced them. I do get it. To obviously simplify the route and make it easy for people to understand where they're supposed to stop. That is fully understandable. So, Great Colquart. If you haven't already seen this map, what's the idea behind the map? So it has, the original release just had two routes, with I believe the odd island circular, so there might have been the odd trip or two on that. But the main two routes were the 320 that goes between Merport Pier and Colquart Slip for the ferry, and the 319 that we're currently doing. The idea behind the 320 and the map itself is it's based around an old island in Scotland that had a 320 bus service on it that did go to a sort of slipway for the ferry and did run from the town, and was actually a route that, believe it or not, in the middle of nowhere in a Scottish island, 2 bus companies used to compete on. Now, one of them was, I want to say there were Millport Motors, and there was another one. Millport Motors is the one that's still going, because the idea is it was Millport Pier, and in this it's Merport Pier, as you see. So it's like ever so slightly different. But the idea is they run from Millport Pier through the town and through the ferry. One of them, the Millport Motors that's still going, they're the blue and white ones. There was also one other company that was red and white. That company has now since ceased trading. So it is just one company on the island now. But for years and years, they competed against each other on this same corridor, interworked the timetables, bits like that, and worked together to earn quite a bit of money off the ferry shuttle. So that's the idea, what this map was based off. That was sort of the idea, but it was made to be fictitious. So obviously they didn't have to base themselves off somewhere that is like, they didn't have to make it realistic, because at the time that this map was made, there wasn't as much equipment and as many tools and UK style objects and bits like that as there is nowadays, where you can go down that realistic road like Lincolnshire. There was a lot less objects, so they made do with what they could. A lot of Canterbury objects, as you can see, because Canterbury was like the main UK map at the time. That was the main map that had all the UK stuff made for it, that everybody knew. So there's a lot of Canterbury-based objects, but apart from that, there's a lot of just basic OMSI 2 stuff with minor edits here and there. The idea behind this map is, although it is an old map, it got away with being basic and still even today looks effective, because this is the kind of thing like what an island would be like, where you sort of like in Scotland, where you have all the different bits of land, all the mountainous areas, very few trees, a bit colder, so it's a little bit more desolate, and you've sort of got this really just random windy road going through. Kind of like the Isle of Arran, what you get with there, a very, very similar vibe to that. When I'm driving around this map, I do think of the Isle of Arran and that sort of thing, because it does give off that kind of effect. Speaking of the Isle of Arran, we all knew about it through the B10 MPS types that used to run around there. I do still have the B10 MPS type installed from OMSI2. If you are interested in seeing it in a future video, please do let me know. I might take it on a trip on the 320 to the pier, from the pier to the slip. I might do that, to be fair. We'll see how we go. I might do the Island Explorer, and we'll see what we feel like. As I think the last time I drove this map, it was actually that bus I used, because it just felt like it really suited it. So I'll be down for using that again. Let me know if you are interested. I can't remember how on earth I got that bus. I really can't, before anybody does ask. And I also do not know where it would be available to download. So again, I can't answer that question. But I can drive it if it is of interest. So far we have picked up 0 passengers. How exciting. So this is Ferry Road, so I believe if you keep going along that road, you join onto the 320 route. For us, we're heading up here to head to the hospital. So as I say, it's a very different vibe to the likes of Cranley and the Adstow project and Lincolnshire and stuff like that. Not probably too far off what Lincolnshire is like in parts, but it is a different vibe. It is a slightly older vibe, but it's still a really, really nice map. As I say, the routes are short. I mean, from one side of the island to the other, this literally takes 20 minutes to do that. But you do have longer routes like the Island Explorers, the E1 and the E2. And you've also got the 320 that you can pop up and down on. So it's still a nice enough map, and it also is nice because it means that we've got a little bit of a shorter run today, because I know that the previous video I did was a little bit longer. So what I am trying to do is I'm trying to sort of mix in some of the longer runs with the shorter runs between both this and Train Sim, just to provide something for everybody to enjoy. because obviously not everybody wants to see the long runs, but then again some people really like them, and vice versa with the shorter routes as well. So it's nice to have a little bit of variety between them both. So there we go, so that was the hospital. So, yep, I am a little bit sneezy at the moment. That is also worth mentioning. Unfortunately, I am coming down with a winter flu. I've been coming down with it for a little bit now, and it has finally properly started to take hold. So although I am here driving along, just excuse me if I'm sneezing and what have in the background of this and possibly the next video or two, just purely because, yes, I am not. I'm a little bit poorly, but it's a good excuse to sit in front of these simulators and have a go on them. So if it gets bad, I might turn the commentary bit off. But hopefully I don't have to do that. Hopefully I'm going to get better before it gets worse. Cross fingers. So when you're doing the 319 going up the other way, that pops out of this road to the right and then heads up. We, however, because we're doing it in this direction, that road is a one-way street that it pops off the main pier road on. We head straight down to the main pier road and go straight down the town centre. Again, it is an incredible basic map, and as long as you look past like the Canterbury objects and stuff, it's really basic but really, really nice and effective. That's something I've just always noticed about it, is it's just, yes, incredibly basic, but it's like the effect of being able to travel round the island loop there and bits like that that are just so nice. And a bus like this just feels like a nice steady motor to take on it, even though we've literally carried no one. It's typical, because when I tried to film the video in the other direction, we did actually pick people up. But it is what it is. On routes like this and an island where you've not got that many people living there, you will have some trips where you don't carry anyone. It is kind of to be expected. But there's not many of these YGO4 plated B7TLs remaining, though. Not many at all. I mean, there's the two in Cleethorpes for now that are going to be replaced probably by open top E400 quite soon. So they're still about for now. There's one that's been converted into a camper, 32473 YJ04FZZ. And they're doing quite a good job of converting that to a camper. Acquired it from Hunters, who, I will be honest, I don't think looked after it as well as they could have done. But now the people who have purchased it are hopefully going to give it the love and the care that it deserves. And there might be the odd one or two of these surviving elsewhere. But as far as I'm aware, I think that's pretty much it. A lot of the majority of the YGO files just got withdrawn. And that was such a shame. It really, really was a shame. But it is what it is. Why has my blind gone off? That's random, isn't it? It just went, no, we've arrived, so the blind's going to go off. Blind's going to go off, so... There we go, Stagecoach North Scotland. That I have totally not edited myself. It does say Island Bus on the side, but we're going to ignore that. We're going to pretend that I edited the entire HOF file and totally didn't forget about that section. So, when we get... Oh, have I done that? Oh, no, I haven't done that the wrong way. There we go. And there we go. So that was our lovely, lovely drive. Very steady and short drive, I must say. But very nice drive, nevertheless, of the Blueprint Productions B7TL Gemini from Etchil Ferren to Merport Pier on Great Colquart. Now, I will have a little bit of a look, see if I can find the download link for this. If not, I'll mention it in the comment. I'll mention it in the description. If I haven't been able to find one, do let me know in the comments below if you are interested in me asking if it can be re-uploaded. Because if there is enough interest, I will look into it and I'll see what I can do. And do also continue to send in your bus route and map suggestions and repaint suggestions even for OMSI 2, as well as your route, reskin and train suggestions for Train Simulator. As I say, I'm trying to make my own custom scenarios in that to make it a little bit more exciting, so let me know what you'd like to see. With all that said and done, I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have done, then do be sure to click that like button, as that way more people can find the video and enjoy it just like you have. And then hopefully, if you have enjoyed this video and you haven't already, do be sure to subscribe to the Simulation Section channel for more content like this from OMSI 2, Train Simulator, and possibly another simulator or two along the way. Once again, thank you for watching, thank you for your continued support, and I'll see you all in the next video, mate. Bye for now. Bye.